Hey everyone, it's me Doomlink and welcome back to Doomlink's Live Hunts. We are once again in Generations Ultimate for the same reason that I mentioned last time I was recording in Generations Ultimate. At least I think it was the last time, could have been the time before. It's just the easiest thing for me to sit down and record, so therefore that's what I'm recording. First and foremost, I'm going to apologise for the cicadas outside. That is that weird background noise in the mic that you are possibly hearing right now. I'm not sure. It's not at the loudest right now that it has been, but it's close. Hopefully it will die down. Sometimes the cicadas just stop. That's a lovely moment in time when they just stop ruining my life. But they don't actually ruin my life. It becomes essentially background noise for me because you just learn to live with it in summer, because of course I am in the southern hemisphere, so it is summer here at the moment, or getting to that in terms of the temperature. And yeah, what happens there is you've got all the cicadas coming out, so it's not really something that I can control, unfortunately. But regardless, I will go and get my chats up. I'll mention that I have had well, I'm sure everyone has, I've had the Twitch dashboard, the new one, rolled out to me, but I haven't had that new YouTube dashboard rolled out to me, which is a good thing, I have to say. I'll mention as well that my lighting is changing constantly, so whether or not it stays looking decent, I really have no idea. No promises, and here's hoping that I won't have to make too many large adjustments going forward here. Anyway, I'll get my chats up here and then we can get moving. I might try and get a room together while I'm doing that, just so I can... You know, multitasking is something I'm somewhat capable of. I mean somewhat. But anyway, so let's do a pop-out chat because I have determined that this is what I prefer. And then, yeah, life will be good. And I'll do the same on Twitch. If I can work out how to do that. It's not too complicated, Doomlink. There we go. The new dashboard might look like crap on Twitch, but it is functional, at least. Which is probably more than I can say for the new YouTube dashboard, as far as I can tell anyway. I haven't actually used it personally yet, but I have a feeling it's going to be kind of shit. I don't know why Twitch is seriously insisting on a dark mode. I don't mind dark mode for some things, but for other things it's really annoying. The reason why dark mode is really annoying is because what happens is you get so used to dark mode that anything that's light mode starts to blind you. So therefore, if you start turning the majority of your, whether it be applications, websites, services, into dark mode, what ends up happening is that the websites that you do use, whether they be news websites, anything really that naturally has a light theme, any application that you use on the computer that happens to not be dark, it's fucking blinding you. That's just how it is, because your eyes adjust so heavily to dark, like literally black and dark grey, that it just becomes a situation where it's really unpleasant when everything is white. So yeah, I try not to get too used to dark themes, but it seems that that is the current direction for modern user interfaces, which is not a bad thing at all, but it is in the sense that what I just said becomes a problem. But yeah, it's one of those situations where I think everyone has to conform to one standard. The standard before then was white. The standard now needs to be black, not both. But anyway, hi Milkshake, welcome to the live stream. I'm going to try and get a room together. Am I searching? Yes. Sometimes I intend to search and then I create instead, which is not actually what I want to do. But anyway, again, I'm going to do my best to keep on track of my lighting here. It's a little bit dark now, but the problem is, if it goes, oh, it's getting a little brighter, but sometimes when it gets brighter, it won't just get a little bit brighter, I'll turn into some second coming of Christ. So that will be a problem because, and you'll find out why if it does happen. Me becoming Christ is not necessarily bad in and of itself, but in terms of how it looks, it's really not great. That's good to hear, Milkshake. Crimson Fatalis, I'm not... well, let's do Crimson Fatalis, why the hell not? The whole idea of live hunts is that it's a live version of random hunts, and, you know, I'll just randomly do a Crimson Fatalis, that's fine. Is it better to use dragon or water in this game? Do I really have to Actually, I don't have pings decks on my new laptop, which is annoying. So I'm going to have to go based on what these other people are using. They are going raw. Okay. I may very well do the same. Milkshake, do you know if Crimson is weaker to Water or Dragon in this game? I really don't know. It's probably Dragon. So let's go and check. The weakness of the armor, that can often help. So Dragon Res is much lower than... Okay, so Water is not even... Okay, it's Ice and Dragon, as it turns out. So let's go and equip a Dragon weapon. I was being dumb thinking that it was Water. I don't know. But anyway, in the old games it was Dragon and Fire for Crimson. And you would think really Fire for Crimson, but all of the Fatalis monsters were weak to Fire in the old games. Now it's mostly just White Fatalis. I think regular Fatalis is still weak to Fire, but definitely use Dragon in this game, basically. But anyway, what are we using? These people probably won't kick me for taking too long to get organised, because ideally, even with their stupid sets, they probably want a group of 4, or at the very least they're going to go for a group of 4. Yeah, water is the most underutilised element in Monster Hunter. But I would say that I can still get a bit of use out of it. I've actually had people say, why would you bother making a water weapon, you know, when actually going through the motions of building a character at the lower levels of G rank, and I always seem to find a use in it, so, yeah. Also, welcome to the live stream, Vogaltus. It's been a while since I've seen you. Maybe 3 months? Which is the case for a lot of people who watch my stuff. Sometimes I'm like, oh, hi, I haven't seen you in... Why am I looking at my watch as if that's going to tell me the date? Maybe it will tell me the date. Some watches do that, but yeah, the point is that it's been a long time. I really need to make a decision as to what I'm using. What would I like to use? Something ranged, maybe bow. Do I need to use anything? Actually, no, I remember, last time I recorded, I got flat here, which is yummy, except for the fucking cat, of course, because the cat is terrible. It does look a little bit dark, doesn't it? I apologise. It's going to have to stay looking like this, because if I start turning on my room light, then it gets brighter outside, then I'll have to turn off my room light, and look, it's a bad time. These people are going to kick me if I don't make a decision soon. How about we go Greatsword? How about I be an actual weirdo and go Greatsword? Let's do this. Magnastar Emden. Actually, didn't I somewhat recently use that on camera? Oh god. Okay, we'll go Sharp Greatsword. What's my Dragon Sharp? Oh yes, Fatalis Legacy. Sharp Greatsword, Fatalis Legacy. I think that's what it's called? Yes, I was correct. God knows how I remembered that. I forget everything when I haven't played games in a little while. I have only been playing Monster Hunter when I'm recording it. That is a fact. So, yeah. Monster Hunter is not on the mind. So, anything that's not on the mind for an extended period of time for me sort of goes away. It's considered of low importance, and it is instead replaced with other things. What the hell is this black cat? Now, when I say black cat, I don't mean super dark grey. I mean black. The blackest of black. What's the color code for that? Is it like 5 zeros or something? That's what he is. Or is it 6 zeros? I don't know. But yeah, seriously. Yeah, I'm not going to be using the worst weapon, because whatever the worst weapon is, I'm sure it's terrible. There are certain weapons that don't get up to G rank level, I think, even in this game, which is one of those games where they really try to give you that functionality in the late game with all weapons. So yeah, that would really be terrible. I think I'm ready to go. I equipped Exchanger. I am getting quite close to Hunter rank 400. I'm going to go and, well, I'm like preparing to move a great deal of distance to get my glasses ready. I rinsed this out, so I had to pour out water in my hand. Ooh, can you see that? No, because it didn't drip at all, actually, in the end. I'm very entertaining, I think you'll find. I'm also very good at entertaining myself while confusing my viewers. Do you have any tips for late game Sword and Shield, says Monsieur. So instead of Monsieur, it's, anyway, Koala, hello. Monsieur Koala, which is one of the weirdest names I've ever read. Metaxa, by the way, Greek spirit. you can not really see that because it's actually yellow, but it's kind of green, so it takes all the color out, etc, etc. Chroma key. Tips for late game Sword and Shield. I don't really have any. Why am I tilting my fucking... That's called having a bad habit, everyone. It's because I often pour beer on camera, you see, and I'm like tilting my fucking brandy glasses. Anyway, don't worry about it. These people are actually going to get upset if I don't start moving soon, so let's do that now. Tips for late game Sword and Shield. I really don't have any tips for you, other than if you're going status, aim for very high status, because you're not going to be doing much damage anyway with it, so it's better to aim for high status, and given the fact that the weapon is attacking very fast, you want to aim to get that status off very quickly. So, yeah, that's one of the benefits to a fast attacking weapon like Sword and Shield for status. So, for example, you have whatever it's called, Death Grip, which is the paralysis Sword and Shield. Very good. Has very high paralysis. I have a set that tries to give it as much raw damage as it possibly can have, while also giving it additional status. But anyway. Outside of that, I really don't have any tips. Just aim for something that doesn't have super high raw, but also doesn't have complete garbage raw. Find a balance. That's always what I recommend for any weapon type. Find a balance between raw and element. I try not to go for very high element, low raw, and I try not to go for very high raw, low element, unless I'm actually banking on raw damage. So if I have a set that's purely designed to work with raw, because that's a different scenario in general. Why would you attempt to kill all bosses in Dark Souls 3 with a broken straight sword? What is wrong with you? Are you seriously lacking in things to do, or what? That's not meant negatively, but seriously, that's... Or perhaps it's just a reflection of your masochism. That's also a possibility. I certainly can't deny that as a possibility, but anyway. But yeah, Metaxa, never had that on camera before. It's kind of similar to Brandy. I've got the 5-star, by the way. It's the one that I prefer. It's got that sort of, again, I say fruity for lack of a better term. Did I seriously just... Oh, never mind. I thought for a second that my laptop just ran out of battery, but no, it went into standby. I really need to... or the screen went to sleep. But, yeah, I really need to fix that. But anyway, what I was saying was that Metaxa is rather similar to Brandy, and 5-star is the one that is most similar to that, so... Oh dear, that was... No, please. Of course, that is the big problem with Crimson Fatalis. It's those falling meteors. They always cause some No, don't you fucking dare. That's really dangerous. I wasn't expecting him to have the ability to drop meteors so far away from him, actually. But anyway. Just making sure the game volume is good. It's annoying because every single console that I record has a different ideal volume setting that I need to put it at. And I'm pretty sure that the one I have here is fine. It's actually been set to the Demon Souls volume, in other words, PlayStation 3 volume. And I think that works fine for the Switch. So I often go minus 21. It's currently minus 23. Hopefully it's alright. Anyway. You're having lemonade with vodka. Fair enough. It's always good to add some flavour to vodka. But anyway. I would sooner have gin straight. I'm not a huge fan of gin. But anyway. It's fun to fight a 4th gen Fatalis here, Crimson, that is similar to the original, because of course in 4 Ultimate you had that super strong... I don't even know what he was called. He was like Super Crimson? I don't know what he was supposed to be called officially. Oh, the cicadas are back. Sorry guys. It's interesting because I had not actually noticed that they had stopped. That's how used to it I am. But for you guys, of course, it's this annoying background noise, so yeah, you definitely do notice it. That's probably very dangerous. I don't know why I just did that. Well, whatever. Your girlfriend drank the bloody brandy. Well, that's annoying. Tell her to buy you a new bottle or there will be consequences. No, with partners you share the bottle. Half each. But anyway, that was a really ridiculous situation. You see, when Fatalis is on all fours, the reality is that you're at risk. If you're going to be stuck in one place doing something like Moonbreaker. Oh, that is a paralysis that I have more or less missed out on. Imagine that, an opportunity to hit the head with a great sword. And I just missed it, so that's pretty fucking annoying. Go for a slam charge, which I almost got hit out of. I'm not going to go for the follow-up on that because that's what just happened. Whenever Fatalis is on all fours, you need to be keeping an eye out on what the hell is going on. Milkshake, were you the one who I was talking to? This is very important. Were you the one that I was talking to about that glass that I bought, that beer glass, that was never going to come? I think we talked about it back in maybe June or something like that. If it was you, I have an interesting update to talk about. That. That's a weird way to phrase that sentence. I have an update regarding that. It was you. Okay. So, I'll get it out after this hunt. Actually, it's behind my green screen, annoyingly, so I'll get it out. But it did arrive. And it was a crazy situation because, of course, just an update for everyone who doesn't know, which is everyone except Milkshake. I bought a beer glass. It was a Westvleteren 12 glass from the 2011 box that came with all the beer and that stuff. And I ordered it, and 3 weeks after I had ordered it, I got a message from the seller saying, "Your item has just arrived in Canada." And I'm like, okay, that's great. So he said, "This has never happened to me before, I don't know how it happened, but I'm going to send it to you right away." All well and good. And then I didn't get the item for a long time, never heard from him. This is after at least a month or two. And so I contacted him, and someone sent a message on his behalf saying that he had had a very bad accident and was in the hospital. And that he would get into contact with me once he was able to, like physically able to. That's a pretty extreme scenario. And so I basically gave up on getting that glass anytime soon. This was, by the way, back in June. This was when this started. It was, I bought the thing in mid-June. And after that message, I left it alone for maybe, I don't know if it was 2 months or 3 months that I left it alone. I think it was 3, after that point. And so, that happened. And recently, I believe it was maybe early last month, I contacted him again. I said, could I have an update on what's happening? I hope he is well, but it has been a long time since I purchased this thing and would just generally appreciate an update. And I got a response from the man himself, the guy who was actually selling the stuff, who was in the hospital. He had since left the hospital. He told me that he gave me a list of everything that happened to him. He had, like, broken stuff, like, all sorts of issues going on. He said he was lucky to be alive. I didn't inquire as to what had happened to him specifically, but yeah, it was quite extreme, whatever it was. And yes, he is lucky to be alive based on all the stuff he had broken. He probably fell off a fucking balcony or something. I don't know. It was bad. But, yeah. He was pretty... oh god, we're actually at risk of failing this. But, yeah, so... He was good about it. He had no actual history of the transaction because eBay removes purchase history like 6 months after the purchase has been made, something like that. Or the transaction history as far as what he would have to look at to confirm that I'd made the purchase. But he remembered me, and he sent the glass to me quite quickly. It arrived at my door like 2 weeks after he said he'd send it, which is fairly quick. It came from Belgium. And yeah, I'll show you the glass in a little bit. But that is a story. So this, by the way, it would have been late November when I received it. So from June to November, that's how long it took for me to actually get it. So it did come eventually. As I said, it would take a very long time, but I'm glad that it did come at some point. It's very interesting because when I received the glass, I thought in my head, well, I could have very easily never have received this. And I didn't think that in terms of, oh, what a shame it would have been never to have received it. I thought of that in terms of, it's amazing because he could have died, you know, and it could have never left his possession in that way, because he was dead. But fortunately he did not die, and he was alright. So, yeah, kind of an epic story of online purchase. Now that was a rather difficult to manage repositioning on the part of Fatalis. You could see that I was aware that he was on all fours ready to do something, and I was moving preemptively, and it still wasn't enough to actually avoid that. So that was pretty terrible. Anyway, that was, yeah, really bad. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to get out that glass. It's going to be a bit of a mess. One moment. Requires me to move the green screen to the side. Where is it? There it is. Okay. So, I don't know if they're doing it again. They probably are. I'm not going to do it again because I have already wasted the time failing once. Now, you have to understand, I received this glass, you know, expecting a certain thing. After everything that had happened, I was quite disturbed to receive this. It's a tasting glass, not a full-sized chalice. I was shattered. I was destroyed. I was like, seriously? I thought I had purchased a full-sized chalice. I was like, ugh. Now, I have no idea if that was my mistake or his, but I don't care anymore. I got it. It's difficult to see on camera because it's, you know, gold on white, basically. Gold on clear. And it's also flipped because of my camera at the moment. But it's, West Vleteren 12, and it's the 2011 glass, but it's a tasting glass. I wanted the first reveal of it to be used as an actual beverage glass with a beverage in it, but that's alright. You managed to catch me live? Hi, Alejandro. Alejandro, is that how I say your name? I think so. Welcome. It's always good to have new people in here. I do stream at a weird time for certain people. It's very late for the Europeans, and also kind of late for the people in the US and I guess South America as well. I like how I say US and South America instead of US and Canada. Canada, so what? No, not really. I should say North America and South America. That's the better way to put that. You're in the UK? Well, I'm glad you watched the VODs. That's why they're there. That's the most... I guess the most gratification that I get out of live streaming is the views I get from the VODs, actually. I generally don't have much of an audience when I'm live streaming, but to be honest, as long as I have an audience of some description as opposed to literally no one watching, it's pretty good at the moment. I've got 3 people watching, which is pretty good for me when I'm live, at least during the last few months or so. And thanks for joining me, guys. But yeah, sometimes when I don't have any audience at all, It's not that satisfying to record, but it's not a terrible thing, because again, I do have an audience for the VODs, and that's kind of how I operate. I operate based on how it will be as a product, for lack of a better term, after it has been recorded. So, because I'm primarily a Let's Player, you know, or at the very least that's my background, so I'm pretty good at talking to myself, that's the point. That's why I think some people who actually try to live stream with the intention of becoming big find it very, very difficult to start with, because they approach it from the perspective that they need to be live. So they're actually streaming to no one at first, which is impossible for those people, because they're like, well, why would I waste the time talking to no one? So what happens is someone comes in, the person's not being engaging whatsoever, and they leave before that person live streaming can even engage with that person. So that's very hard. Fortunately, I don't approach it from that angle. So the room was actually named Zenoga. It's actually instead Silver Rathalos, so yeah, that's pretty weird, but whatever. So we want to go water. Here we go. Here's an example, Vergaltus, of a monster that's weak to water. And that's one of the reasons why I actually really like Silver Rathalos. It's such an interesting element for him to be weak to, and I enjoy that. In Portable Third, it was better to use Thunder for the simple reason that the Thunder weapons, which were Zenoga weapons, were so much better than any of the water weapons that you could get in the game. So despite the fact that water was slightly better as an element against Silver Rathalos, generally, if you were going Blade Master, Thunder was the way to go in that game. But in this game, we've got some pretty good water weapons, fortunately. It's not Portable Third, so yeah, that's a good thing. I really need to make a decision on what weapon I'm using. I'm actually considerably indecisive today. I was about to say considerably decisive. Obviously, that's not the case. Now, that's a regular Silver Rathalos, isn't it? If it were a Hyper, I would not be going Blade Master, but I think I'm going to go Blade Master. Let's go Sword and Shield, shall we? As I said before, we will go Water, so that will be the Odyssey if I can find it. Never mind, it's Agamemnon in this game. The top upgrade name for the weapons have changed for most of them. That is referring to weapons that were in older games. This was originally called the Odyssey. It's now the Agamemnon. I'm sure one of the names is Odyssey as you're upgrading through, but yeah, not the case anymore. It was interesting going from Tri into 3 Ultimate, actually, seeing all of the names go from the high rank names to the G rank names for the final upgrade. And yeah, got Exchanger twice in a row. That's pretty rare, I have to say. Are we good to go? Okay, I'm going to be good and actually bring oils this time. Now, you guys probably find that to be not impressive at all. But for me, it's pretty fucking impressive, because I'm not in the habit whatsoever of bringing oils. Let's bring, well, what is it? Maybe Mind's Eye and Affinity. Just whatever, we'll make do with it. But oils, they're there, so use them, you know. But again, I'm just not in the habit of it. I think we're going to be departing anyway, even though Blackjack disconnected. Yeah, I suppose some of the Amatsu weapons were decent, but I'm not really a fan of those types of weapons where they've got high raw, high affinity, or low affinity, I should say. High negative affinity, I should have said, and low element. Not my kind of thing at all. So you've got monsters like Amatsu and Ukanlos. I have to say, I've mentioned this before, but I have to say it again. It was so funny watching Amatsu no Gatsushi's official name being Amatsu. Like, what were they thinking? Because the reality is, you've got so many monsters in the game, or in the series, I should say more specifically. What are we hunting again? God, what are we hunting? Silver Rathalos, okay. Don't know why AK's going that way. You're already in this area, may as well go here. Anyway, so, yeah, it's just funny because you've got so many monsters in the series that have long Japanese names that were just spaced out. And it's not hard. You had Yamatsukami, Yama, space, Tsukami. Then you had Kushara Daora, space it out, Kushala, Daora. Why couldn't they just do Amatsu, Magatsuchi. Are people dumb? Like, I don't get it. As in, do they think people are dumb and therefore can't say that? I don't know. But instead of Amatsu, Magatsuchi, it's just Amatsu, which I found hilarious, but anyway. Of course, that was first revealed in Monster Hunter Generations as far as the official translation for Amatsu Magatsuchi. It took that long, you know. It took them 6 years or however long it would have been. Generations was 2016, wasn't it? I think so. But anyway. Oh, let's shield that. That's annoying. I just took a capture accidentally. Because I've got my my stupid touchpad, because I'm actually using this thing. I like how I say this thing. My PlayStation 4 controller. And sometimes I accidentally hit that big touchscreen thing, which acts as a button. And at least I think I pressed that. Yeah, I did, damn it. So the share button, or does the share button not do that? I don't know, I'm so confused. I thought the share button took captures, maybe not. Whatever. I often have to go into my list of captures and just delete them. AK is already dead. Heavy bowgun. See, this is the funny thing with people who run Valor Heavy Bowgun. Excuse me. What ends up happening is, because they're crouching, they just die. Because they're too busy trying to deal damage. That's why I generally go for high mobility heavy bowgun, which is therefore evade extender and all of that business. It's definitely not as good. Like, for example, my heavy pierce set is not that great. But yeah. Yeah, Rathalos is Rioreus. And Raytheon is Riorea. Now, I don't know the subspecies names because most of the subspecies in Japanese are simply referred to as Ashu. Now, I don't know if there is a Rioreus Ashu. I've got no idea. But if there is one, it would probably be Azure. But anyway. And it's not just a matter of it being... Oh god, what's gold and silver? Kin and Gin. Which is which? I think Kin is gold, Gin is silver, I think. But it's not just a matter of those words being used along with Riorea and Rioreus. It's instead some other garbage, and I'm not Japanese, so I can't read it, but... Well, I don't speak it, that is. All she knows is getting fucked. And... I'm also not doing great myself, I'm too busy talking. I'm going to have to change my pants. I'm wearing tracksuit pants at the moment. And it is too hot to wear them, so I'm going to change them momentarily. Not on camera, incidentally. This is a mature rated stream on YouTube, but again, we all know that that's not going to be permissible. Me taking off my pants on camera. If I'm a female, however, that might be slightly more permissible. As we all know. I don't think, Ew. Monster Hunter World Wiki, that's awful. The best thing about that game is that it really does have a separate community of sad people who don't know what a real game is in the series, which is fine, you know, they can continue to be ignorant. It's better for me and everyone else. It means that our communities don't get infested. And I do use that word with every negative connotation that it has, with the full intention of it having those negative connotations. But anyway, I do have respect for people who started in that game, but come into the real series and not ruin it, you know? They approach it sensibly. But I did have one person coming into this game using the term flash pods. I swear to you. He was in G rank and he was still saying flash pods. I wanted to smack him. But anyway. Yeah. I heard that Iceborne was really bad. My friend Sam, who has played... He had Iceborne on early access. And he... so he got it, I think, a month before everyone else did. So he had played a lot of it, so he talked to me about Iceborne. He, of course, was under a non-disclosure agreement. But once it had come out, he informed me of what was going on with Iceborne, and essentially told me how shit it was. And he informed me from one long-time Monster Hunter fan to another. Not because he thought I really cared about World. So... because he knows I fucking hate that game. And I generally don't discuss it. I'm only discussing it now because it's been a long time since I last discussed it. And I will generally not. But, yeah. Thought that was worth mentioning at the very least. My performance has been quite poor at the moment. The reality is I did not bring flash bombs because I suck, and I still have not applied my oils, by the way. Remember when I said that I'm not in the habit of doing that? I'm not even in the habit of bringing them, let alone applying them. So, of course, applying them is the next challenge to face. But anyway. Where have you gone? You've gone over there. No one knows what the hell's going on. The reality is you should always bring Psycho Serums. It's a very useful thing to have. It saves you time, because you don't always know where the monster has gone. Maybe you missed the shadow. Maybe the thing's done a weird rotation that you're not familiar with. It always helps. Yeah, Rathalos in that game is... he is true to his name. He's the king of the skies. I absolutely hate him in that game. But I think they did him justice. That's one of the positive things. Whoa, what the fuck was that? This is ridiculous. Come on. Came out of nowhere. I'm going to bring him over here. We need to choose one of these two areas. Maybe the one that Oshino is in is better. In fact, it definitely is. We have more space over here. You'd think I'd be familiar with that fact, having hunted in this area so many times. Are we really doing this? If we fail this, that will be 2 quests in a row in this live stream that I've failed. And that will be not a good thing. I'm somewhat overheating because of the weather and the fact that I'm wearing long tracksuit pants. So between that and also being at risk of failing this fucking quest, I'm not in a great way at the moment. Yeah, that's exactly what my friend Sam that I mentioned before says. He doesn't bring paintballs anymore, he just brings Psycho Serums. For me, it's better to paintball, actually. Psycho Serums are for if you failed to paintball, that's how I feel. But, I enjoy the convenience of paintballs, you see. Not everyone does, but yeah. Shield that, baby. I don't have high-grade earplugs, do I? If I did, that would be ridiculous, because I would have wasted my time. The reason why I have Guard Boost on this set, by the way. Oh yes, apply your oils. Here we go. I can't believe I just successfully applied my oil, guys. That's the first time I think I've ever applied oil on a recording. I'm just gonna put it out there. Okay, this is a bad fucking start to that oiled up confrontation. Fireball in the fucking face. How's the lighting? It's really fucking bright, and I hadn't noticed it. Okay, I will have to make some sort of adjustment to that then. I mean, I can't do anything. My light's not on. I can't reduce the brightness except to get that big sheet that I can put over my curtains, which takes a little bit of effort. It's alright, it's not super bright. Why am I collecting that? I don't know. It has been a long time since I have performed so poorly in a video game. I'm just going to put it out there. This entire quest has been pathetic. I don't have flash bombs. I can't get him out of the fucking air. I'm overheating as well, by the way. I've mentioned it like 3 times now, but I'm serious. Okay, can this thing die soon? It won't, because our performance is terrible. Although, I feel we've been carried a bit by Mr. Orcus Quarkus. Good question, Alejandro. In terms of the styles, I used a lot of Adept in Generations, and pretty much nothing else. I realize that Adept is just dumb because it's essentially the win button. It's the win button in a slightly different way to that of Valor. Of course, Valor only existed in this game. What else did I use? I used a little bit of Aerial, not much. What bothers me most about styles, apart from that of Adept, which I will not use, because again, it's basically Evade 3, and it gives you a short window in which you can deal extra damage. It's crazy, and not balanced at all. The problem that I have with styles is that it reduces the functionality of your weapon to balance things out, and I don't like that. I like to have the full range of function of my weapon type. It's just how it is. And part of that is to do with the fact that I'm used to being able to use the weapon with its full functionality. Like, it's kind of a no-brainer. Of course I'm used to being able to do whatever I want with the weapon. That's normal for me. My intention was to, at some point, get into the styles once I had taken care of building my character up to the point that I have it at now, actually. But even now I don't really feel like touching styles. I wanted to stick to guild until this time, and then once I felt that I really needed to try something new in the game, I would take on styles at that point. But I still don't really feel the need. I don't know. I'm not necessarily opposed to them. I'm actually really happy with the styles system, because I'm not forced to use styles. I technically use a style in that I use guild, but that's just a way to refer to the traditional style of playing the game. And I'm really glad that they give me that option. And as far as I'm concerned, the game is not harder like that. I don't feel underpowered at all. I'm sure that if you used, say, Valor, or just any style really, you'd probably deal more damage in general. But it's not... I don't feel as if I'm seriously lacking in effectiveness. Not even remotely, in fact. So yeah, that's just a thing for me to say. I will go and change my pants. Okay, seriously, I need to go into my power settings on my laptop because the display keeps turning off because I have it on battery at the moment. Power and sleep settings. Bear with me for one moment. I don't know if these guys are going to go for the capture or not. Really haven't a clue. But yeah. So, on battery powered, turn off never. If you can scroll down, there we go. Turn off never. There we go. That's what I like to say. So, my main character is 160, but I started a new character and I'm trying that challenge where you can only use each weapon a maximum of 100 times. Ah, okay. It's interesting because that's exactly how I approach playing the game for my guild cards. See, I aim for around 100 uses on each weapon type, not as a challenge, but simply so that my guild card can look nice. That's the reason why I do it. So I aim to get about 100 uses on each weapon equally over a course of time. So if you look at my guild card, I think I've shown it a few times. I'll show it again in case you haven't seen it. It is that way. It's flat, pretty much. Some weapon types have been used a lot more than others. I think my top uses are greatsword, heavy bowgun, and maybe light bowgun as well. I will check. So that was a really long quest, mainly because we suck. Or I suck. I probably barely contributed to that hunt. I'm going to be brutally honest with myself and all of you. But yeah. It was bloody terrible. How's the lighting now? Okay, it's better. I don't need to make a change. This is perfect right now. But is it going to stay perfect? No. Because it's constantly shifting lighting. This Hunter guy is fresh into G rank. And I probably won't be hunting with him because I think I'm going to take my leave of this room. And, oh, another capture taken. Please stop. I have no intention of doing this. Why don't you use item sets, Doomlink? Well, I'm stuck in my ways, I'm sorry. That's why I can't use oil on my sword and shield, or use styles, or do anything new. But anyway. What am I doing? Yeah, changing my pants. One moment. Do bear with me. It won't be on camera, fear not. I feel alive again. Yeah, I'll show my guild card. It's flat. Pretty much. This is what I aim for in all of the Monster Hunter games, essentially. And it's... I don't necessarily find it more enriching to use all the weapons equally, because the reality is that I generally do that, naturally. But, yeah. As you can see, cat, very low, it will remain there. Seriously, cat can fuck off. Okay, so... why do I have such a problem with the cat? If I wanted to hunt as a cat... what is this? Guys, look at this. It's... this is not... what? Hold on. Maybe it's the game glitching out. Maybe it's not that he's modding the game or something. But look at this. Okay, I need to enter this and see what the hell is going on. I need to confirm if this is some kind of glitch. Because you saw that the symbol for the weapon type that guy was using was actually this almost static-y looking symbol. That's weird. What's he using? Okay, it was just a glitch. They're hunting Elderfrost. I may as well do it. I really don't want to hunt Elderfrost, but because I've already hunted Elderfrost up to EX, but I don't think I've done it on camera before, so I may as well. What are we doing? Fire. Longsword? Actually, let's go ranged. Let's go element. Light bowgun. You don't waste a weapon used to do a gathering quest. Yeah, that's fair enough, I suppose. Alrighty. So, we want flaming. Whatever the secondary is, I'm probably not going to bother with it. It should be capturable by the time I'm out of my flaming. And besides, it's better to go for Pierce anyway with this particular gun. It's a good gun for Pierce as well. Are you kidding me? 3 quests in a row, Exchanger. What is going on? God, the game is desperate to get me to 400 as soon as possible. That's pretty... no! Shit! Sorry guys, give me one moment. Talking to the people who can't hear me in the room. Because I'm sure they are desperately waiting for me to join. Oh, Emperor's walking around. It means he wants to go. Oh, I feel pressured. Oh, S rank in all arena quests. That is painful. I would not wish that on my worst enemy. That kind of crap is just not acceptable as far as I'm concerned. It's so monotonous and boring and... ugh. But again, it's an achievement, I suppose. But an achievement at the expense of what? Your sanity. Or at least my sanity. I wouldn't be able to think straight if I had to do that. It would be terrible. I have no intention of doing that. Much like I have no intention of hunting a certain number of EX deviant monsters. My own EXs, that is. Therefore I would have to hunt so many deviants. It would be terrible, but anyway. Lighting is perfect. This is exactly what I like. If you want to know what perfect lighting is for me, it's this here. But again, probably won't stay this way. Elderfrost is good fun to fight. He looks very similar to that of regular Gammoth. But again, what would I want a Gammoth subspecies to look like? I don't want him to be some giant blue elephant or a green elephant or anything like that. So have him be more frosty. That's fine. Oh god. I hate that arse slam. Alright, thanks for joining, Alejandro. Okay. So, again, the biggest thing for this monster is to not kill it accidentally, because it is pretty easy with a group of 4 to kill it accidentally. It does not have that much health, because the fire weapons in this game are generally pretty damn good. You can see that, wait, is Emperador? No, that's a blast weapon in this game, that's right. So he's not using fire, but he's still doing a lot of damage. I mean, that's a very damaging hammer that he's using. Devil is using... oh, never mind. He's completely not optimized for this quest. He's using that dragon greatsword, which you do often see with lower level people. Whoa! Hate getting caught in that. It's terrible. But yeah, when it comes to Gammoth, particularly Elderfrost, I prefer to be at range. I don't want to be close to him, it's annoying. He can still mess you up at range, that's for sure. And that's part of Gammoth's design here, in his Elderfrost form. He has the ability to hit you from a distance with random snowball tossing and things like that. It's really annoying. And he's also got that trunk. Oh, what the fuck just happened? I was completely misplaced, didn't realize that I was about to jump off the cliff and just did it. So that was actually terrible and I have to make my way back. So let's do that now. How long have we been recording? 50 minutes? I'm going to go for about an hour and a half today, by the way. So we've got time for a few more quests. But yeah, that was really bad, I have to say. It's faster to go this way than the other way, by the way. Let's say way a few more times. Actually, maybe it would have been faster to go down one level and then climb up and get up that way, but who knows? So I effectively had 3 different ways that I could have gone to get back here, but this method was fine. We will use Bullet Geyser momentarily. This is a good time to use it, actually. There we go. Can mess up your teammates. But yeah. What did I get for Elderfrost? It was a bow, I think. I had to get... I don't remember what it was shooting. Maybe it was either heavy or rapid for ice. And I needed the Elderfrost bow. And it was a terrible experience because I had to get trunk spines. Now, Elderfrost trunk spines are terrible to get. It is not a fun experience at all. So, yeah, if you end up forcing yourself to fight Elderfrost to get materials for a weapon and you require trunk spines, best of luck to you. Radagast is dead. Lo siento. That's fine. No need to apologize. Death is a thing that happens in this game. I've died a few times myself in this recording. Avoid that. So based on this team, perhaps we're not actually at risk of killing it accidentally, but we could still be. That's worth mentioning. We may not actually be performing so poorly that we wouldn't be at risk of killing it. Because sometimes it happens very fast. If you suddenly have a high damage period right around that capture point, you can very easily kill it accidentally. Anyway. I just shot into the wall, that's just lovely. That's what I love. Full house. Not that that helps, really. I've only got full house 2. Once I get full house 3, it will be worthwhile, but I don't even know how to get full house 3, and I couldn't really be bothered having a look to see. So, get out of the way of that. Never mind. Still managed to catch me, unfortunately. Hello, Quirtstu 1982. I've got no idea what you're laughing at, but that's fine. Apparently something unfunny was extraordinarily funny, which is great. Whatever makes you happy. Probably should have used Bullet Geyser. Let's go and do that now. Go mess up some of my teammates while I'm there. I think that's an invulnerability period the entire time that you're doing that animation, which is pretty crazy. I've never been interrupted out of it, but yeah, I would say that it's probably uninterruptible. Alright, I think we are at the point now. I mean, if enough time has passed for Gammoth to become exhausted, I would say we are ready to capture. Yep. That is a limp. Emperador is also pinging, thankfully. Which is necessary, because people just don't realise it. They really don't. Let's go for the shock trap. Leave it to me, guys! Why are you still attacking, you fucking idiot? Or was it not limping? I thought it was limping. Now this is the problem, the way that Gammoth moves, sometimes it can look a bit like a limp. He very much, what's it called? He lumbers quite a bit. So I thought maybe he was limping. Even if not, I thought he was very close to death. Now this is where we're at risk of killing him, guys. Because we failed that capture while he was close to capturable. So now we're going to probably overcompensate. And, yeah. Again, Quertsu, I don't know what you're referring to. Like, that nope means nothing to me. Or do you mean nope as in he wasn't limping? I don't know. Yes, that's what you meant, probably. Anyway. The reason why I can't keep track of comments like those is because I don't really keep track of what I'm saying at any given point. I talk very much on autopilot. Well, this team definitely is not performing amazingly. Because we managed to get Gammoth to... what's the word? Exhaustion. With a team of 4 people and could not actually go for the capture, so that's definitely not a good thing. I'd say that he's capturable now. So, let's go for it. Now, pitfall traps are a bit weird with this guy. I'm pretty sure you can pitfall trap him, but he oftentimes just walks over it. Sort of depends. Here we go. I have seen him walk over them before. There we go. Now, this is the risk. If you wait for him to limp out again, oftentimes you can just kill him. It's annoying. Of course I talk a lot. Streamers who don't talk a lot suck. That's the reality. Not saying I'm particularly good, but I have a Let's Playing background. I intend to communicate. Oh, God. But anyway, I missed that shiny, but that's not a huge problem. How's the lighting? It's getting to be a little bit bright. Are you kidding me? 2 palliums. It's for a total of 7 now for that. Also got an ice orb. Alrighty. $396. Now again, I have fought my fair share of whatever they're called, Elderfrost Gammoths, but I thought that I may as well do one on camera because I don't believe I've done one on camera before, so I went and subjected myself to that, and I hope you are happy with that. Let's move on to something else. Again, I do apologise for the cicadas outside. That is the background noise that you're currently hearing. At least I would assume you're currently hearing it. It is really loud. It is at different volumes at different times of the day, but it's pretty damn loud at the moment, so I would say that you can hear it. Potato. A fern is forever. What the hell is this quest? Let's have a look and see. Yeah, now it's getting really bright. Nothing I can do about it at the moment unless I go and get my... maybe it's just going to be better if I... oh. Okay, well they've departed with 2, even though there were 3 people before. Okay, so it is a gathering quest. That's terrible. I'm going to have to make an adjustment to the lighting in a very manual manner. One moment. How are we now? Yeah, that's looking a bit better, isn't it? So I've got the room light on, rather low. I've also got that covered a bit. Awesome. That's looking a lot better. Now that should stay mostly at this brightness, which is what we want. Consistency, not constantly changing lighting conditions. That's annoying. Okay, so what next? Raging Bracky. I haven't done Raging Bracky on camera, actually. Let's do that. Didn't I join with 2 people in here? Apparently not. But it looks like we got another person. Nope, he just said hello. I did see that the chat lit up. Thought maybe that was someone joining. Unfortunately not. Alright. So, what should we use for Raging Bracky? I would say Heavy Pierce. That's generally what I use. It's the safest way to approach the hunt, because you've got high mobility if you're using a set like mine, and again, ranged. Being close to Raging Bracky is annoying. Speedrun. I don't think we're going to be doing any speedruns with Raging Bracky today. Water Melonium. But, yeah. We'll do a regular hunt, and that'll be it for Raging Bracky. I have no intention of doing monsters more than once. But, Defender High might be good. That's not fresh, is it? No. Well, have some water resistance. That should be helpful. I don't think I'll be taking it to Suplex City with a heavy bowgun. But anyway. Right, let's go buy some Pierce. Don't think we will need combination materials. Alrighty. So this Spencerian person is using the Royal Water Claw. That is a set that is specifically designed. That's very interesting. He's got pretty much the same Sword and Shield set that I do, but this one is specifically tailored to water element. So there you go. I'm pretty sure he has the exact same skills that I do, completely independent from each other. I just made my own set, right, for Sword and Shield. He's pretty much made my set, but he swapped out Guard +1 for Water Attack +2. That would probably be because he's relying on the... Yeah, that's what it is. So he's got 3 slots on the weapon. I generally don't go for slotted armor sets for Blade Masters, or Blade Master weapons, because I like to have an armor set that can be used with lots of different weapons. There are certain alternatives, or not alternatives, but rather exceptions to that. For example, Death Grip. I have a Sword and Shield set with Death Grip that does make use of the 3 slots on that weapon. But yeah. Underwear. Get it? Underwear? That's not funny at all. I have never in my life made such an unfunny joke. And unless you were reading the YouTube chat, you wouldn't know what the hell I was talking about anyway. Alright, let's go fight a Raging Bracky. I find him to be easier than he was in 4 Ultimate. Now, I've got no idea if this is some kind of... what's the word? I don't know if it's... I'm trying to figure out how to explain that. I don't know, can't get my train of thought, I suppose. But the reality is that it feels easier, but I don't know if it really is easier. So, maybe you could be the judge of that if you're more familiar with the 4 Ultimate Brachydios. Raging Bracky, more specifically. So Naoto is also going ranged. Smart individual. Just out of the effective range of that Raw, fortunately. Get out of there. But he seems slower here. That's what it really comes down to. He feels slower. He's just as big and somewhat menacing as he was in 4 Ultimate, but he, again, is not as fast. I think the main reason is because if you're used to fighting G-rank Brachydios in this game, you become very desensitized to a fast-moving Brachydios in general, because G-rank Brachydios moves so fast normally that something like a Raging Bracky really is not very intimidating. So, alrighty. Oh god, that was a bad idea. I knew it was a bad idea, but there you go. Now, this is the reality when you gun Raging Bracky. You've only got one chance, and usually I perform much better than this. But of course, as soon as I'm on camera, it's a little bit worse. In fairness to me, in 4 Ultimate there was no such thing as using a Hunter Art, so I was never stuck in one place doing a stupid Hunter Art animation. But the way that I'm hunting Raging Bracky here is the same as I would hunt him in 4 Ultimate, that is, using a heavy bowgun with Pierce, Evade Extender. High mobility, high damage, ranged. That's the way you do it. Going to put away my weapon and use a cool drink. Should have done that before I entered the room. Alrighty. So no more deaths. I can assure you all of that. It's interesting because I was going on about how Raging Bracky is easier in this game and then I died to him stupidly. Which is generally how that works, you know. You shit talk a monster for being easy and then you die to it. It's typical. I'll take that opportunity to use gunpowder infusion because I'm just going to be stuck in one place anyway. This is the dangerous part. This is where Raging Bracky starts to explode all over the place, which makes him annoying if you're going Blade Master. And he also gets a bit faster. Blade Master, faster, rhymes, haha, not funny, moving on. That was dangerous. That right there that he just did. Fortunately that didn't explode immediately. Hey Maximus, good to see you again. Currently hunting a Raging Bracky. I wonder why everyone's coming in today. This has been the Bye Doomlink. I do hope you're joking, I would cry. Good luck, have fun. I guess you're not joking. Well anyway. It's been a very active stream today, everyone's come in. I had a number of people. Had one person I hadn't seen in months in here. But anyway. Okay, you are kidding. I remember before, I don't know what it was, a different stream, maybe something that you weren't interested in watching. You did say the same thing, and you disappeared, so I wasn't sure if you were joking or not. Can't leave a Doomlink stream? Well, thanks for that. You are the only one at the moment. The people who were in here before didn't stick around. Not necessarily because I'm not entertaining, at least I would like to think it's not because I'm unentertaining, but probably had other things to do or other things to entertain them. We live in a world now where entertainment is just at our fingertips. It's incredible. I mean, I'm not going to get all old man on you because I'm not an old man, but the reality is that it's the last 10 years have really changed entertainment. In the mainstream in particular. It's amazing what people can be entertained by. Television is more irrelevant now than it ever has been. 10 years ago I was considering television to be completely irrelevant, but now it's on a completely different level. It's actually at the point where television is a bad joke, because the level of professionalism you can see on the internet is just as high. And I don't match that level of professionalism, obviously, but anyway. Negroes. Thank you, Water. Melonium. Is that an ingrown Negro? Like, how does that work? I don't know. I don't know what you're trying to contribute to this chat, but whatever. And why you're still watching, I really don't know, but power to you, man. No, it's fine, Maximus. I understand how it works. Sometimes we have things to do. And I'm not always the most entertaining thing on the computer. That is a reality that I need to face as well. And that is a dead Raging Bracky. Need to get in the habit of pressing B to skip again. Report saying the N-word. That's not the N-word. That was politically correct back in the 60s, man. Yes, it's not currently the 60s, but hey. You're so stupid. But you entertain me. Watermelonium, you do. Anyway. Is that considered reportable, though, to say that? I don't know. I suppose it's considered derogatory now, but yeah. It's definitely not on the level of the actual N-word, which I would never actually say. I have said it. It was funny because when I was recording my Twilight Princess Let's Play, I actually did say it in annoyance at one point, but I did censor it with a censor bleep. Don't know why. I don't know why I said it, and I don't know why I felt the need to censor it with a censor bleep, but it was funny. But anyway. It's a very strange word, culturally. Because you've got a whole race of people who use it to refer to like a buddy or a friend or another person who is of their ethnicity, and then you've got the other side, which is using it in the most derogatory sense possible. So, I've never really understood that. It's very strange. Ah, it's the Spanish word for the color black. Negro. Negro. Report me. I said negro. Report me. No, but really. That makes sense. I wonder why they chose to use a Spanish word to refer to them in the 60s. And, well, it's not that I say the 60s, but this is before the 60s, of course, the use of that word in the English language to refer to dark people. Well, what's the politically correct way to refer to them now? I don't know. People of colour is apparently okay, but you can't say coloured. Coloured is bad, but you can say people of colour. Look, I don't relate to any of that because the reality is I don't live in the US and we don't have that kind of thing going on here. It doesn't exist. We don't use that word. We don't have that kind of social discourse going on. So I'm quite separated from that. So I apologise if I at any point appear to be ignorant. It's because I am. I don't really understand what's going on with that stuff. It's a very weird social situation that has been going on since before my parents were alive, and I don't understand it. I understand the origins of it, actually, but I don't understand why it continues. I'm about to sneeze. Do excuse me. The Dirty Deals a Baroth. It is a G-rank Baroth. Let's go hunt it. I have to say, hunting a Baroth is probably the best thing that I could have asked for, because it's the kind of monster that you don't fight often. Let's go longsword, good idea. Shall we go water or fire? I still don't know what is best. Water or fire? Shit. So it's fire, or is it water when he's got mud? Let's go fire. It came to me in a dream. Not in a dream, but rather it was more of an epiphany. I realized that fire was the only way. Did that make any sense? No. Here we go. Wyvern Blade Garnet, as it's referred to. Exactly. That's why I don't say African American. Maximus. And as well as that, like, what if I'm referring to a person who's not from America? How about that? So therefore, how does that term relate to me? If, like, I might be referring to a person with dark skin who may or may not be from Africa, who's not even in America, so I can't say African American at that point. It's a very silly situation. I mean, I'm not saying it's unimportant. I think it's important to not offend people, but dear God. It's a bit of a mess, isn't it? That much can't be denied. It's a mess. And I have to say, I do have a very racist American friend. I will not name him. But he essentially, like, much of his racism is chalked up to the fact that he is actually afraid of them. He's genuinely afraid of African Americans harming him because of the, I suppose, the low socioeconomic level of those ethnic people. Ethnic people. I shouldn't say that. That's probably offensive. I just called them ethnic. What did I just do? No, sorry. It's all about the intention behind the words, not the words themselves. Let's keep this in mind. I'm not out to offend people, and I don't have a problem with them. I'm fairly neutral to all peoples, because the reality is that I actually work in a high tourist zone in Sydney. I serve everyone on the face of the fucking planet, and I can tell you that everyone is equally retarded. Okay? That's an important point. Bai Wing Wong, I love this guy's name, because it's probably more racist than anything that has been said in this video. But anyway, not that I've said anything racist, but the point is that maybe some of it could be misconstrued in that way. So let's just put it in perspective. Wing Wong? That's pretty racist. But anyway, moving on. Let's have a look and see where the monster is starting, because I don't even know what we're hunting. What are we hunting? It's Baroth, that's right. He is going to be in the mud. West Virginia. Yeah, that's right. No, that makes sense. A lot of violence and drugs, and it's sad because it's all real. Like, that's real. If you're at risk of being harmed, that's real. And if you can attach that to a specific group of people, of course you're going to have a prejudice. It's just an unfortunate reality, but we need to try and get around that. As long as we can not stoop to the level of being prejudiced to everyone. This is the philosophy that I live by. I'm going to put this in fairly plain terms. People are very varied in the way that they think, in the way that they feel, in the way that they express themselves. And there are so many people in this world who are adverse to the idea of being represented by their ethnic majority, by their cultural majority, etc. But if those people are treated in the way that their majority are treated based on prejudice, those people may very well, out of spite and out of frustration and out of general anger, may very well act in the way that you hate them for acting by treating them in that way, by prejudging them. Through prejudice, you can actually create that which you take issue with. That's how I see the situation. So therefore, prejudice should be avoided at all costs. Wait until the person takes action that matches what you may prejudge them for, or matches what your stereotype in your head may be, and then at that point you can make your judgment. But it's important to reserve judgments until the person has actually done something, because I have found exceptions to every prejudice, exceptions to every stereotype, because I work in a high tourist environment. Yes, I can say that everyone is equally retarded, in that no matter what country they come from, they can be complete idiots, because when you work in the service industry, as I do, you find that people are generally very stupid. That's the reality of the world. But there are also people who aren't that way. And also, they can be from all walks of life, of all cultural ethnicities. And it frustrates me that people are so focused on race. It's actually more culture than anything else. But even in culture, there are exceptions. And finding that exception is, as far as I'm concerned, on a social level, the key to coexisting with any group of people. You need to find that that exception. The webcam's having some compression issues. Yeah, that's a thing on YouTube actually. It's really annoying, and I think it also shows in the VOD. It's a little bit dark at the moment. I will fix the lighting. Yeah, cultures and religions do not mix well, that's definitely true. I suppose the various branches of Christianity are mostly fine, but not so much very different religions. I need to fix my brightness in a moment, because it is looking pretty dark now that I've actually had a look. It's annoying, but again, shifting lighting conditions, what can I do? I can only protect against the super bright outside light by having that thing draped over my curtains, but yeah, there's only so much that I can do. There we go, that's a dead Baroth, and now I have the opportunity to turn up my room light. Alrighty, how's that? Now I look really orange. Not really orange. It's alright. Alrighty. It's strange, I do find myself to, at times when I'm recording, end up in race discussions. But, yeah. I generally think that people should be less confrontational about all subjects on the social level, but race is really touchy, and I don't think it needs to be so touchy. There are two sides to everything. The racists are complete idiots, but there is a polar opposite to the racists, and they are the people who take offense to literally everything. They also have problems, and probably need to stop being so confrontational, because all that does is create the racism that they are so opposed to. That's a reality. So, that's probably my closing point on that entire subject. Let's move on. It was good to fight a Baroth again. I actually did fight a Baroth somewhat recently. But, yeah. Oh, they do fight amongst themselves. The worst fighting was in the past, though. What with the Catholics and the Protestants? That was pretty rough, wasn't it? Certainly wouldn't have wanted to be either of those two back in England in the old days, although being a Protestant was probably worse, because they usually got the shit end of the stick. There were times that they got on top, but the Protestants had a real rough time. Anyway. Okay, so let's go and hunt something else. How are we going for time? I have time for one more hunt, if I was intending to finish at 1 hour and 30. Turns heart. What's the heart for? I know what it's for. It's love for all living things who choose to play this game. Unfortunately, some people who play this game are very stupid, so I do not have love for all of those people. But anyway. De Tranquil? Don't know what that means. Need help, please. Young Garuga. That's a good closing monster, isn't it? Is it super bright now? Because I noticed that the outside light just got really bright. It's fucking fine. Shut up, Doomlink. Stop being so... Stop micromanaging your brightness of the webcam. But yeah, Maximus, as far as the compression issues on the webcam, I really have no fix for that. Because unfortunately, I've already set my video bitrate to 6,000 kilobytes per second. Which is supposed to... Like, that's above the ideal bitrate for 1080p video. So, like, ideal bitrate for 1080p video is around 5,000. I've set it to 6,000, and it's hitting that without issue. So, I really don't... Actually, it's mostly between 5,000 and 5,500, so... Maybe it's not hitting that so well. But anyway, yeah, there's not much I can do, unfortunately. Oh. It's a grudge match. Well, that's a different story, isn't it? Definitely, every community needs to chill out. I think that's one thing that I've really noticed. The advent of social media has really made it clear that people love to fight amongst themselves. Any different opinion, anything like that, people are ready to jump on that person, and it's not pleasant to look at. That's why I have distanced myself from the realm of social media to an extent that many people have not in this day and age, which is sad because it really should be avoided. Social media is terrible. I will never be there as a personality, and I will never follow people on Twitter or, be involved with Facebook. It's terrible. It's really bad. And it will only continue in that direction as more and more people who are born live a life where that's the norm. At that point, it will be inescapable, but at the very least I can say that I won't actually submit to that crap. Submit in that I won't make a Twitter account, I won't make a Facebook profile, I won't engage in that crap. It's terrible. But that's a whole different subject in reality. But it relates to the fact that people are very confrontational with each other, which I think we would all agree that social media has made it very clear that everyone wants to be confrontational. Oh shit. I'd love to know what people were hunting, to be honest. Hunt Atulkar. No. How about that? No. Solcia G5. I remember that hunt. Solcia is one of the deviants that I got to G5 as well, or EX more specifically. It's a rather difficult hunt, that one. Excuse me, shit. Rajan. Okay. I was wanting to finish up with a Yian Garuga, but it's taking some time. Kenthra. Are you here? Well, it doesn't matter that much, because in reality, I'm going to be sitting here waiting, so... Exactly. What you just said, Maximus, is really important. It's the agendas. We don't need agendas, we need neutrality. That's the point. Big corporations, big projects, they need to have a sense of neutrality. And you don't see that in any of this that's going on currently. There's none of that. There's no neutrality. You can see that there's an agenda at work. And it's very sad. Yeah, that's definitely... That's right. You've made a very good point. And I have been living, and I was born at a time where I could see this huge cultural shift, and I don't consider it a blessing. I think it's very frustrating. Why am I using fire? Holy shit. What are we even hunting? Rajang. Ice is what we need. But yeah, I was born at a time that I was given the opportunity to very sadly see a huge cultural shift, and it has not been a cultural shift for the better. That much needs to be said. So... whatever interpretation people want to have of it, I don't care, but the overall philosophy of the world that is most ideal is to search for coexistence. Anything gained from fighting and confrontation is not what you want. Some people say to have massive cultural shift for the better. Let's say, okay, let's say for example that culture in the world is extremely negative. To actually get it to turn from negative to positive, you need to fight to the extent where it would be like a war, except a war with words. But at that point, anything gained through a war of words or any sort of aggressive action is not true positivity. There's an underlying sense of aggression. There's an underlying sense of insecurity in reality, because you feel as if you are under attack unless you conform. That's the reality. There's nothing positive about that feeling. So, yeah, I don't know. What can be said other than that? If you feel like you're going to be under attack if you say the wrong thing, even if you don't mean anything bad, That's not a positive change. That's not forward evolution. That's going backwards. That's oppression. But of course those people don't realise that. Anyway. I don't know how I always get on these conversations, but it's not a bad conversation to have. It's not necessarily related to Monster Hunter though. So we're hunting Rajang, he starts over here. Kenthra and Spencerian are currently hunting Mr. Rajang. Rajang. Going with longsword because I'm in the mood. I don't know why. I actually do really enjoy longsword. There's a certain simplicity to longsword that I enjoy. It's got a very basic move set for the most part, and it deals damage. It is a heavy hitting weapon. So I think that in terms of effectiveness, it's a lovely weapon type. I certainly wouldn't have said the same thing back in Try, because Try was a different scenario. Try was you just endlessly spirit comboing because that was the best thing to do. You were given the opportunity to do that. You were open to a scenario where you did not have to charge your spirit gauge once you reached the end of it. Once you brought that spirit gauge up to full, it would stay that way, so you could just go ahead and spirit combo the whole time. Not a problem. So of course you would do that to be most effective. But that also in turn made the weapon type terrible. So yeah, not a good thing. Annoyingly, those front fists are causing me to bounce. Is that a paralysis? No, it's not. He was trying to pin someone. Causes him to stay in one place for a period of time. I love his laser because it gives you a good opportunity to get some hits in. Can I get this fully charged? No. Certain monsters can be really annoying with... Oh shit. Rolled in the wrong direction. But yeah, certain monsters can be really annoying with longsword because you can't really get that full charge up. You can't really get a full opportunity to just do a combo from start to finish and get it up. That's what she said. Well, I would find it difficult to get it up while I'm hunting a Rajang actually, so it's not entirely ridiculous. See how my charge is just gone? Because this monster won't stay in one place. Or at least stay in one place so that I can hit it for a long period of time. But yeah, this will be the last hunt that I do, which is worth mentioning. Oh shit. Oh yeah, I was meaning to do this. I'm sorry that I had to wait until this time because no one will hear this because it's too far into the live stream. But I will give an update as far as what's happening with Monster Hunter Online. I intend to do at least one follow-up recording in the Random Hunt series for Monster Hunter Online. There will probably be 2, maybe 3, very unlikely though. And I also plan to do 1 live stream for the farewell of Monster Hunter Online. I'm giving this update because this is the final month of Monster Hunter Online existing as a playable video game. So, yeah. That's a thing. I'm not a huge fan of Monster Hunter Online. Even playing it towards the end of its lifespan has not encouraged me to pick it up and play it regularly. Like, I just don't really care for it. But I do think it's a shame that it's disappearing. I would have liked to have put more time into it, but yeah. I've not been given that opportunity, unfortunately, so hasn't happened. Get out of the way of that. Yeah, so one thing to mention, Maximus, which will put your mind at ease, is that as far as I know, there will be two very, very different monster hunters that will exist at the same time. They will coexist. Well, not even coexist. They will exist separately at the same time. One will be through Portable Team, one will be through the mainline team. The mainline team, or rather stationary console team, Team A, Team Alpha, whatever you want to refer to it as, they will stick to the world / Bloodborne / all of that stuff. Whereas Portable Team will work on this sort of Monster Hunter, the Monster Hunter that we appreciate. Now, the reason why I can guarantee you that this will remain intact, this Monster Hunter that we enjoy, the classic style, the reason why that will actually remain intact and will continue to exist is because the Japanese players prefer that. That's a really big point. That means that there is a market for traditional Monster Hunter in the country of Monster Hunter's origin. So that is a big thing. Capcom has always catered to the Japanese populace more than anyone else. They will not continue to do that exclusively because now they have a huge money source outside of Japan, but they will still cater to the Japanese audience through Beta Team, through the Nintendo Switch, for now. So the next Nintendo Switch game will definitely cater to that group of people, and therefore you should not expect to have some world clone on Switch for the next Monster Hunter. That's all I'm going to say. Expect good things. Expect something that will be a credit to the Monster Hunter series, not World V2. Well, I suppose Bloodborne's World V2, but it won't be World V3. But anyway, I have to be right, because Capcom will not ignore the Japanese. They cannot. They would shoot themselves in the foot to an extent that words cannot describe it. The Japanese audience is Capcom's lifeblood, and was for 2 decades. I do not think that they will abandon those people, because World is not popular over there. It's really not. Like, it was at first, that's for sure, but Bloodborne absolutely took a nosedive in Japan. Absolutely, they were done with World. They wanted the game that they had gotten used to, very much like I had. I had gotten used to traditional Monster Hunter, and by the time I had had my fill of World, keeping in mind that I've probably played a combined 350 hours of World, which is enough to determine whether or not I like it, as far as I'm concerned. And I can say very comfortably that I'm not interested in it. It looks beautiful, obviously, it looks amazing. But there is more to Monster Hunter than looks. It's about the feeling of playing the game, it's about the experience. And that's what the Japanese people are missing, and that's what I'm missing. So people like you and me, assuming that you're like me and that you miss traditional Monster Hunter, I think we will be given the opportunity to continue experiencing that with new releases. So, yeah, well, we'll see. We will see. But I've got faith. I've got faith in Capcom. Because the reality is that the Monster Hunter series has been... Oh shit. I didn't know where he was going to go. I didn't know if he was going to go to the left or to the right of me, so I didn't know where to avoid him. But yeah, Monster Hunter has been... Until World came out, Monster Hunter has been, in the eyes of Capcom, a Japanese game series. They're not going to do a 180 on that, I don't think. They're not going to just abandon them. I can't imagine that. It doesn't make sense. They have an opportunity to appeal to two different audiences because they have 2 different teams working on 2 different platforms. So I think that they will appeal to one group while appealing to another because of those 2 teams. So, yeah. Yeah, that's terrible. Well, Maximus, what you're talking about here with Dauntless, in that what you would assume is that people would lose their save files once the servers went offline. That's what I was talking about in my Monster Hunter Online video, where I basically discussed how it's not acceptable in this day and age to put so much time into a video game only to have the prospect of it all being lost just because they've decided to close the servers. That's not acceptable at all. Like you, and like everyone else as far as I'm concerned, we like to be able to still go back and see what we spent so much time working on. Yeah, it might not be as fun to play by ourselves, that's a reality, but at least we can still do something with the characters that we spent so much time building up. If it's all gone suddenly, it's terrible. But anyway. That was the last hunt that I was doing for this recording. And, yeah. That's about it. So I thank you all for watching. The next time that I record for live hunts, it will probably be Generations Ultimate again. Because, again, that's the easiest thing for me to record. Hopefully, excuse me, hopefully you guys don't mind it too much. Yeah, catch you later, Maximus. Thanks for joining again, and thanks for everyone for joining, actually. I had a pretty active live stream today in terms of the chat on YouTube. So, it is actually afternoon for me. It is 12:44 PM. I'll catch you all later, and thanks for watching. Bye-bye.